All right, let's return to our discussion about the economic performance of the ANC ahead of the January the 8th statement tonight. Usually a birthday bash for the ruling party, the governing party, but today virtual celebrations, in fact no celebrations, just the statement from President Cyril Ramaphosa expected around 7 o'clock. We're again joined by Adriaan Saville, Professor Economist and Founder and Chief Executive at Cannon Asset Management and Economist and Director of Econometrix, that is Azar Jammine. Thank you both for being with me. So, Adriaan, before Azar mentioned the crucial topic of corruption. Corruption not only a government problem, but an ANC problem as well. If we talk about mismanagement as well, would you agree that here people really want to see how the ruling party is going to deal decisively with this matter once and for all? We hope.
Look, dealing with corruption is an important part. First, corruption is not a public sector problem. It's a public-private sector problem. And I think we need to be clear on that very often when people talk about corruption, it's immediately, well, it's government. There are many parties involved in corruption, and the evidence is available on that in South Africa. I think a critical aspect of squaring up to corruption is that until there is clear evidence that these issues are being dealt with seriously and in a convincing and committed manner, you're going to struggle to attract investment in the necessary size and the necessary form. And it may be a poor pun, but I think the lowest hanging fruit in South Africa takes the form of orange overalls.
All right, a good pun. And Adriaan, I wanted to pick up on something you said earlier, talking about the bigger canvas. You would, as an economist, look at leading indicators, education, for example, looking at where we will be in years to come. If you look at the quality of our education right now, and the health sector exposed by COVID-19 around the world. So on those two crucial areas, was it really an exposure of how the ANC had performed in the run-up to COVID-19?
South Africa has had dysfunctional education and healthcare systems not for years, but for generations. This is baked into the architecture of South Africa's economy and society. Under the ANC administration, I think material improvements, substantial gains have been made in aspects of healthcare and education to improve the country's performance on both scores. It doesn't change the fact that they are wrestling with a problem that takes on Leviathan proportions, and that the progress that they have made simply hasn't been quick or effective enough. The problem is huge. The task is substantial. They've made progress, but there is much, much to be done. And South Africa is losing its grip in terms of global standing and performance on both of those criteria. So it's not that we're treading water.
Adriaan Saville, stand by there. Sorry to cut you off. We welcome our viewers now from SABC2, and of course this is a special broadcast in the run-up to the January the 8th statement. This is the traditional statement by the president, not only of the state but of the party, President Cyril Ramaphosa, laying out the ANC's plans for the next year or so, its priorities, and putting things in order. Usually it coincides with a big birthday bash, but that has been cancelled. All non-virtual events cancelled this year because of COVID-19. We continue our discussion about the economic performance in the run-up to that of the ANC. Sorry for the interruption. There we're with economists Adriaan Saville and Azar Jammine. Azar, a crucial question is, can the ANC really back its officials in government? Earlier in 2020, in about the middle of last year, various parties in NEDLAC specifically were putting forward economic rescue plans. There was a lot of debate about what South Africa should do. Analysts, some of them describing the ANC's plan as terrible. An economist like Duma Ngobule said it could have been written by an intern, and that none of the items were costed. Is there enough sort of financial, technical ability within the ANC to back up its officials in crucial economic areas in governance?
There is no doubt that there are some capable figures within the ANC leadership, but there are also other figures who appear to have been put in positions of authority because of their connections. And that is where a lot of the rule of and the ability of the ANC to govern has fallen flat. There has been a lot of incompetent officials being put in place, and the competent ones simply are drowned out by that incompetence in many, many respects. And one would dearly love to see more of the ANC's leadership being put into their positions on the basis of their qualifications, on the basis of their experience and their proven capabilities, rather than on their political connections.
All right, thank you for some economic views. We have to wrap our panel discussion up there. That was Dr. Azar Jammine, Chief Economist of Econometrix, and Dr. Adriaan Saville, CEO of Cannon Asset Managers. Let's take you live.